The first thing my sister said wasn't hello, it was, "We don't feed extras." Then she slid a plain water glass toward my son while her girls waited for lobster platters. My mother didn't blink, just added, "You should know your place." In that moment, every sound in the restaurant faded. The laughter, the music, the clinking forks, until all I could hear was my son swallowing hard beside me. I didn't fight. I didn't cry. I just smiled and said one word, "Noted." Before I tell you what happened when the chef arrived, tell me where are you watching from, and when you hear what came next, tell me what would you have done. Meridian was the kind of place people booked months in advance. The soft lighting, the ocean gray booths, the wine list that could pay a month's rent. My sister Camille had chosen it, calling it a perfect celebration for real achievements. Translation, her daughter's college acceptances. I said nothing, just confirmed we'd be there. Camille always liked to host. She said it made her feel generous, but what she really loved was the stage it gave her. Mom Evelyn thrived in that light too, watching her favorite daughter perform the part of success. I'd seen this play 100 times. My role was always the same, quiet, polite, disposable. Theo, my son, sat beside me, shoulders too big for his jacket hair falling into his eyes. He's 14, but still thinks kindness counts for something. He smiled at his cousins when we arrived, but they barely looked up from their phones. Ava and Riley, both 16, were mirror images and hair, perfect smiles. The kind of confidence that comes from being told the world already belongs to you. "Venus, you'll love this place," Camille said, glancing around the crowded dining room. "They have a chef who actually knows what he's doing." I could have told her that I'd trained that very chef, but instead I smiled. I'm sure he's great. The hostess led us to a corner booth with a clear view of the open kitchen. Every table was full. Waiters moved in rhythm, black aprons, crisp voices. It was my restaurant, though. No one at the table knew it yet. I designed the lighting, chosen the marble for the bar, built the menu from scratch. Tonight, I was just another guest pretending to fit in a family that had never left room for me. Mom took the head of the table, settling her reading glasses like a crown. "Let's make this night special," she said. "We're celebrating big accomplishments." Ava beamed. Riley leaned in, whispering to her sister about dorm choices. Theo stayed quiet, studying the menu, pretending not to notice that no one asked what he'd like. I tried to focus on him, not the tension. He'd grown so fast this year, his voice deeper, his hands almost as big as mine. I wanted him to see strength that wasn't loud, the kind that holds still until the right moment to move. When the waiter approached, Camille ordered the most expensive wine. "The twins will have lobster," she said, like it was tradition. Then glancing at me, "I hope that's okay." I nodded. "It's your dinner." She smiled sharp and thin. "Exactly." As the waiter walked away, I felt the same old current pulling tight around the table. Camille's vanity, Mom's silence, my restraint. The night wasn't about family. It was about hierarchy. And though no one knew it yet, it was about to change. The server approached a young woman named Jenna, confident but careful. I'd hired her myself months ago, but she didn't recognize me in this setting, not with my hair down and a quiet smile instead of a clipboard. "What can I get you all to drink?" she asked, pen ready. Camille answered first. "A bottle of the Silvercrest Chardonnay for the table." "Of course," Jenna said, writing it down. "And for you," Sir Theo looked up. "Can I have a sparkling water with lemon, please?" Before Jenna could nod, Camille cut in. "He'll have tap water. Regular glass." Theo blinked. "Oh, I just thought—" "It's fine," she said, brushing him off. "Sparkling water is for guests of honor. Right, girls?" Ava and Riley exchanged a glance but stayed silent. I could see the discomfort in their posture. They weren't cruel, just trained to stay on their mother's side. Jenna hesitated, her eyes flicking to me for confirmation. I gave a tiny nod. She wrote tap water and moved on. The air tightened. My mother filled the silence. "It's nice we're all together, even if some of us don't get to do this very often." Her tone was smooth, practiced, but I caught the edge in it. I'd been on the receiving end of that tone my whole life. Theo tried again. "Can I get the shrimp pasta? It looks really good." Camille didn't even look up from her menu. "That's a bit much for tonight." I met her eyes. "For what reason exactly?" She smiled like she was indulging a child. Venus, this dinner is about the twins' achievements. Let's not overcomplicate things. We don't need everyone ordering like it's their big night. My voice stayed calm. He's hungry, Camille, then he can eat when he gets home, she said finally, closing her menu. We don't feed extras. For a second, no one breathed. The words landed like glass breaking. Even the nearby table went quiet. Theo stared down at the tablecloth, blinking too fast. I could see the redness gathering around his eyes. Mom set her wine glass down. Camille's right, dear. It's about the girls tonight. We all have our place. There it was, the confirmation clean and final. Something inside me clicked. Not anger exactly, but precision. A lifetime of swallowing moments like this had made me very good at one thing remembering. Jenna returned with the drinks. She slid the crystal glasses to Camille, to my mother, to the twins, then the plain glass of tap water, pushing it gently toward Theo. The sound it made against the wood was louder than it should have been. Theo whispered thanks but didn't drink. I looked at Camille, her perfect manicure, holding the stem of her wine glass, and smiled. Noted. She frowned. What does that mean? Just that I heard you. She laughed lightly. Good, then let's move on. But we wouldn't move on. Not tonight. I'd already decided this lesson wouldn't end at the table. I didn't touch my wine. The stem of the glass felt cold between my fingers, but my thoughts were steady, measured. Camille talked about college essays and internships, like she was giving a seminar on success. Mom nodded in rhythm, smiling proudly. I watched Theo push the condensation ring his glass left on the tablecloth, tracing circles to keep from crying. There was a time when I would have said something, defended myself, defended him. But tonight wasn't about arguing. It was about remembering who held the real power in this room. Jenna passed our table again, dropping off the first-course oysters for the table. Camille waved her hand toward Theo's empty setting. He doesn't need one. Jenna hesitated. Are you sure, ma'am? Camille's voice sharpened. Positive. Jenna looked at me. I gave her the smallest nod. She moved on, but I caught the flicker of discomfort in her eyes. She knew it wasn't right. She also knew I would handle it. As Camille kept talking, I let my mind wander, not to escape, but to calculate. I thought about the contracts in my office drawer, the payrolls, the staff I'd personally interviewed, including Jenna and Chef Marco. I thought about every late night I'd spent turning a failing kitchen into this thriving restaurant. It was almost funny, in a cruel way. Camille had chosen this place to make a statement. She just didn't realize whose name was on the deed. Theo leaned closer. Mom, can we leave? I shook my head slightly. Not yet. He looked confused. But I'm not. You will? I said softly. Just wait. His eyes searched mine, and something in him relaxed. Maybe he didn't understand, but he trusted me. The second course arrived: lobster platters for the twins, sea bass for Camille, scallops for Mom. Plates gleamed under the pendant light. The smell of butter and garlic filled the air. Camille clinked her glass. To success. To our girls, making us proud. Theo reached for his water. His hand trembled. I caught it under the table, steadying him. You're fine, I whispered. When I looked up again, Camille was watching me. You're quiet tonight, Venus. Everything okay? Perfect, I said, smiling. Good, she replied. It's just sometimes I worry you take things too personally. Not this time. She frowned, not sure what to do with my tone. Mom changed the subject, talking about summer homes and travel plans. I let the conversation wash over me. I was done listening. Jenna passed by again, and I caught her eye. I didn't say a word, just a subtle tilt of my head toward the kitchen. She nodded once, before disappearing through the swinging doors. I took a sip of water. The moment was coming, and when it did, it would be quiet, deliberate, and final. Camille leaned back, satisfied her daughters laughing beside her. And I thought, let them laugh now, because when the chef arrives, no one will forget this dinner. When the chef arrived, I said later, the room went still. The kitchen door swung open and Chef Marco stepped out, wiping his hands on a white apron. He was a tall man with the kind of calm that made people listen before he even spoke. I saw the moment Camille realized something was off, Jenna following close behind him, her notepad clutched tightly like she was bracing for impact. Chef Marco, I called, my voice steady but clear enough for the tables nearby to hear. Could you join us for a moment? Camille froze mid-laugh. Venus, what are you? Just a quick introduction, I said. Marco approached the table. Of course, ma'am. Is everything all right? Everything's fine, I said. I just thought my family might like to meet you. This is my sister, Camille, my mother, Evelyn, my nieces, Ava and Riley, and my son, Theo. Marco nodded politely. Pleasure to meet you all, I smiled at him. Chef, would you mind telling them what your position is here? He blinked, confused but professional. I'm the head chef at Meridian. And who do you report to? I asked. His gaze flicked between me and Camille, then back to me. You, Ms. Hale. The table went silent. Even the twins stopped whispering. Mom's hand tightened around her wine glass. Camille tried to laugh. Wait, you mean she works here? Or, no, I interrupted gently. I don't work here. I own here. The restaurant, the building, the company, Meridian is mine. Her mouth fell open. That's not 18 months ago, I said. I bought out the investors. Every paycheck, every bottle of wine, every lobster that comes out of that kitchen runs through my signature. The sound around us dimmed again as if the restaurant itself leaned closer to listen. A nearby couple exchanged glances. Mom found her voice first. Venus, dear, this isn't necessary, it is, I said. Because tonight you both decided to teach my son about knowing his place. So let's make sure we all understand exactly where we stand. Camille flushed, red words stumbling. I didn't mean, you said we don't feed extras. I cut in, calm but sharp. And then you told my employee not to serve my child. That wasn't a slip. That was you showing me who you are. Theo looked between us, eyes wide, unsure whether to feel vindicated or terrified. I placed my hand on his shoulder. Don't worry, I said softly. We're done being extras. I turned to Jenna. Could you please bring my son a lobster platter, the one with truffle butter and the chef's off-menu special? Whatever you think he'll like best. Jenna nodded, her expression a mix of relief and pride. Right away, Ms. Hale. Thank you, I said, and make sure to bring him the good glassware. Camille's voice cracked. You're embarrassing us. I looked at her, still smiling. Funny, that's exactly what you wanted to do to me, wasn't it? Mom interjected, her tone pleading. Venus, please, we're family. Family, I said, finally letting a little steel into my voice. Family doesn't sit by while their grandson gets treated like a stray dog. Family doesn't tell a child he's not worth dinner. The color drained from her face. I turned to Marco. Chef, please ensure my son's meal is perfect. I'd like him to remember this dinner for the right reasons. Marco gave a small smile. You have my word. As he disappeared into the kitchen, the nearby diners started murmuring. Some looked at me with sympathy, others with awe. Camille straightened, pretending not to hear them, but her neck flushed a deep red. Theo's food arrived not long after an elaborate spread that could have fed 2 people. The lobster steamed, the truffle scent filling the air. Marco himself set the plate down. Enjoy, young man. Theo's voice trembled. Thank you. Camille's twins looked down at their plates, silent now, their earlier confidence gone. I leaned forward slightly. Eat, Theo. He hesitated, then took a bite. His shoulders loosened. It's really good. I know, I said. It's yours. I raised my glass, not in a toast, but in a quiet declaration. To knowing your worth. Camille whispered. You planned this, didn't you? I shook my head. No, you did. You chose the restaurant. You chose the table. You chose the stage. All I did was turn on the lights. Mom put her head in her hands. Please stop, Venus. I will, I said. After one more thing, I gestured toward Jenna. Please bring the bill to my sister. Camille's eyes widened. Excuse me? This was your dinner, I said evenly. Your celebration. You ordered the $75 bottle of wine, the lobster for the girls. You wanted to be the host. Hosts pay. She reached for her purse, frantic. Venus, come on. Don't worry, I said softly. You can afford it. After all, you said success should be celebrated properly. Theo kept eating, quiet but peaceful now. His eyes lifted to me, searching for permission to smile. I gave it to him. Camille finally found her voice. This isn't fair. I tilted my head. Fair? You want to talk about fair? She said nothing. Here's fair, I continued. You teach your daughters that they're the main characters. You teach them to treat others like props. And tonight, they watched you learn what happens when the story changes direction. Silence. Even the music in the background seemed to slow. Theo took another bite of lobster, then looked at his aunt. "It's really good," he said quietly. Camille's lip trembled. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "Not to me," I said. "To him." She turned to Theo, voice breaking. "I'm sorry, sweetheart." He didn't answer, just nodded once. Mom spoke next, defeated. "We should go." "Yes," I agreed. "You should." They stood awkwardly, gathering their purses, their untouched plates still steaming. People watched them walk out, whispers following like shadows. When the door closed behind them, the room exhaled. Theo looked up at me. "Are they going to hate you now?" "Maybe for a while," I said. "But that's all right. I didn't do it for them." He nodded slowly, then smiled, a small, careful thing that grew stronger with every second. "Good," I said softly. "Now eat." He did, and I leaned back, letting the satisfaction settle. Justice didn't always need noise. Sometimes it just needed clarity and a perfectly cooked lobster platter. The private dining room in the back felt quieter, almost gentle. The noise of the restaurant was just a hum beyond the glass wall. Theo sat across from me, his plate half empty, the nervousness finally gone from his face. "Mom," he said, "why did Aunt Camille call me an extra?" "Because some people think worth is something they get to decide," I answered. "They're wrong." He nodded, studying the gold rim of his plate. "You didn't yell." "No," I said. "People like them expect you to lose control. The best revenge is reminding them you don't have to." He smiled. "Then I'm proud of you." I reached across the table, brushing a crumb from his sleeve. "Be proud of yourself too, Theo. You didn't break. You stayed kind. That's what makes you the main character." We left Meridian just before closing. The city lights blurred against the windshield, the kind of glow that makes everything feel new again. Theo leaned back in his seat, full and quiet, staring out the window, like he finally understood something he'd never been told before. Some people spend their lives learning their place. Others build it. I built mine, one insult, one long night, one plate at a time, until no one could slide water across my table again. If you've ever been made to feel small, tell me where you're watching from. You're not alone.